Hey guys, super excited to be bringing you this video. What I'm hoping to do is do more of these to send out for you guys to reference and also to cover the topics that we were going to talk about in yesterday's Hangout. So good news is I'm broadcasting to you from a new computer, so hopefully we won't have the same kind of glitch that we had with the Hangouts yesterday. So today's topic is going to be a follow-up to this theme that we've had coming into December. And what we're really going to focus on today is building our database and particularly building it with allied resources, allied partners, whomever that you choose to get into business with. The purpose of this is to add not only a resource for your clients, but also give you a good way to build your database with strong relationships. So here's a little bit of an outline of what we're going to talk about here over the next few minutes. We're going to talk about why allied partners are so important, talk about the process of what that looks like, how we start with contribution so we make sure we build that relationship in a strong way. We definitely want to make sure that we continue to build that relationship, that this isn't just a one-time follow-up. Become a resource to them. I'm going to send you some scripts for all of those, as well as some things that we're going to have in the future. And then how we refer people to them, as well as ask for referrals. So, and again, we'll just kind of conclude this with a discussion of we're definitely in this for the long haul. So let's just start first with this whole concept of why we want to use allied partners. Well, the main reason that I would say we would do it is if you go back and you take into consideration the target that we always use for our database, particularly for our MET group. When you add an allied resource or a vendor or a small business that's local, you're adding them closer to the center because when you bring them into your database, they are going to want to refer you business, and mainly because that's what they want you to refer them business. It's also a good way if you have a smaller MET group right now. It's a good way to grow your database in a strong way with strong relationships. And then third, which I also think is just as important to the overall process, is the customer service that this provides for your clients. So now you have a resource that instead of when a new client to town comes and says, hey, who do you know that does this? Who's an accountant? Instead of just sending them to the phone book, you have a resource, a vendor directory that you can send to them. So that's the importance of this. So let's jump into kind of what this process looks like. Obviously, we'll be talking to you about this in coaching calls, but just kind of help you get the good process started on here. So the first thing we're talking about is that it is a process. So this isn't just doing the phone book exercise from Bold, which we'd all talked about. This is actually something that you're going to start and finish, not just make one phone call, move on. So the first thing I want to do is, first of all, there are a lot of different resources from which you can get these small businesses. We've had everything. I spoke to Carly. Carly has done a great job in this, and she started in July. She, in Asheville, did not have a strong local database because she was new there, and Kurth was new there. So she had to go out and build new people, and she really focused on this program of using vendors to grow that. And so I reached out to her a little bit just to kind of get some of her insight. Particularly, the big one is where do we find like this platform, this list of where we're going to get all these people? And she just did the yellow pages. She went and Googled and said plumber, who is a local plumber, read reviews and then followed up with them. So that's one way you could do it. Here are a couple other ways that the people are finding fairly easy to do it. So here in Charleston, we have what's called the Charleston Business Journal. Charlotte has it as well. I'm pretty sure Asheville and the Triad also have them. And every year they put out this book of lists. So here's what we did is we just took this book of lists and we started from the front and we thumbed through it and we said, okay, for the first vendor or small business that pops up, you simply get to that page. I should have started on it. Sorry about that. So here's the first one, advertising, marketing, and PR firms. So the first question when you get to this vendor, you may just jot these notes down. So the first question is, one, do I know someone in that field? If the answer is yes, the second question is, are they in my database? And if they're not, put them in there and you start on the same follow-up program. Number two is if you do not know someone in this field, then you can reach out to them. The reason I love using the business journal or something like it is because in most of these business journals, if you zoom in on here, you can see that the information for each one is very specific to their location and where they are. So if you're trying to really build a micro market and you want to get specific to the zip codes, then this is a great resource for you. So I highly encourage you to start there. In the event you don't have access to that, I know a lot of times it takes membership, you simply can just go through the alphabet on the yellowpages.com and start accountants, attorneys, and start picking them. Most of you have already started doing that. So that's where the process starts. So the next part is how do we reach out to them? As I said here, you reach out to them starting with contribution. So most of you know that the script that comes from Bold is a pretty easy script to follow. And that really is a good one for you to use. And basically what that script looks like is just simply saying, hey, I'm looking at growing my business. So when I reach out to someone, if I chose an accountant that I don't, because I don't have an accountant in my database, I chose an accountant I want to go reach out to, I'm just going to call them up. Ring, ring, ring. Hey, Mr. Accountant, this is Joseph Klosick with the Temple team, and I just wanted to introduce myself and then just kind of tell you a little bit about how we run our business. As you may know, we come across a lot of people that are looking for local resources when they move here. Obviously, if someone comes to town and they're looking for an accountant, I'd love to be able to refer someone to them. And I was just interested, are you looking at growing your database or growing your business, and can I help you with that? What are they going to say? Of course they're going to say, yes, I would love for you to do that. Please, what, or they're going to be a little hesitant, what's in it for me? And you just simply say, great, here's what I'd love to do. I'd love to drop one of my cards in the mail to you just so you'll have my contact info. And then over the next few weeks, just keep in touch, learn a little bit more about you, teach you a little bit, show you a little bit more about how my business works, and then go from there. And in the event I come across someone who's looking for an accountant, I'd love to send them your way. How does that sound? It's just that simple, right? And now you can either use the method of sending a card to them, or you can go and meet them, have coffee, whatever it may be. Just be careful because you want to make sure you use your time wisely on there. So that's what you do. You're starting from contribution. It gives a great resource for you to give to your clients, and then you can leverage this in your follow-up campaign for almost any person that you have in your database. So the next part is build the relationship. So you've put the people in there. Now you've got to do something after you've gone after them. That's the big part on this, or gone after them is probably a bad way to put it. That's the part of this that we always drop the ball. We do this big campaign. We go out and we meet a bunch of people. We get a bunch of business cards, and then we don't do anything with it. So of course, as soon as you meet these people, or as soon as you've identified the people that need to go in your database, automatically send them over to Jenny, send them over to the hub, so we can start to put them in your Met group, and we can tag them as vendors. But understand, it's important to put them in the Met group because that's who's going to get the 36 to convert follow-up, because they are Mets, right? So just a quick reminder, and you've got access to this, the 36 to convert is the bi-monthly newsletter that goes out, and then obviously we'll have personal touches that will come from personal notes, and then scheduled for the phone calls, and then they would be invited obviously to your events should you want to do client appreciation parties. We personally do invite vendors with whom we have a good relationship. They also come to our client appreciation party, and then we also add to that some networking events for there. So a really good way to start building the business and being more on purpose with your database, right? So that's the follow-up plan. And then lastly, I shouldn't say lastly, is next, become a resource. Right? And I'm going to send you a script for this. This is a big one where you can just call, and when you keep in touch with them, their 4 phone calls a year are a lot easier than someone that you may not have a good relationship with. Their 4 phone calls can be something as simple as, hey, Mr. Accountant, I just wanted to touch base. I know we had spoken a couple months back, however it was. I've sent you some information. I just wanted to reach out, see how everything's going, and let me ask you, what is a good client that I should be looking out for you? And just ask that question. Again, come from contribution and be a resource. Now, here's the other thing, and this goes back to this whole thing, is it is a process, right? You need to start using this when people are asking you for things. So if you do have a client who happens to ask for an accountant, make sure you're sending them to this person. If they do ask you for someone and you don't have that relationship, go find it. No, I actually don't know an accountant here in the area, so let me go, I need to add that to our database, so let me get some referrals to someone, and then I'll send them out to you. So again, this is a good way to stay in touch, to start building the relationship, and then again, continue to be a resource for them. And then in the future, one of the things that we will be doing is how do we move this vendor list to where it's digital and easy to share. Now, I know a lot of you are using Homekeeper, and that may be the option we go with for now. I'm pretty sure in Command, which is still a few months out, we're going to have a way to do it. So in the meantime, we want to be able to set that up and then sync your vendor list from your database with an online source. So when someone says, hey, can you send me an accountant, you can actually send them a link directly to that. If someone says that on Facebook or Nextdoor, you post the link, so that way anytime somebody clicks on it, it's branded to you, and you're getting your name out there and building more relationships. So that's what's going to come up from that one. And then the last part, refer and ask. You need to be a referral source for them and ask them for business. Become a wealth determiner. As I said before, when you become a resource, you need to really be looking for, hey, when you're contacting your database, make sure you're pushing for them to know that, hey, I can be a resource for you, not just for real estate. So if you are looking for a small business in the area, from anything from attorneys to zookeepers, I'd be glad to help. So make sure you send that information to me should you need anyone, or contact me should you need anyone like that. And that's going to be a big resource and a great way for you to follow up with your clients, because it's not just every now and then, hey, do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell? Do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell? Which you should always ask. However, it's not the only thing you're doing. You start with contribution. And then lastly, and I know we're going fast on this, and like I said, I'm going to follow up with scripts and everything in this process, is lastly, is be in it for the long haul. Too often, and I am probably the most guilty of this, is too often we say, I'm going to start this. We have it, December, January is great. We go out a bunch of people, we throw them into the database, they start getting the drip campaign, and then we don't ever call, or we don't ever really keep being on purpose. I'm telling you, as this market starts to slow down and soften, which it's started to do in some of our areas, we need to understand that these relationships are going to be the most important part, and they're going to be the biggest resource for us when it comes to finding new business as we go into the next couple of years. So be in it for the long haul, have it be an organic part of your business. We're going to share a little bit more about this. I'm so proud. South Park really leaned into this concept in their team meeting this week, and they all came up with and committed to a 135 specifically for their database. A lot of it's included in what we just said, and then they've gone a little above and beyond to say, hey, here are some extra things we're going to do, some events just for them, which again, we do that locally here in Charleston. It works great. So we're going to keep everybody in up to date on that and what that looks like, so it can continue to help you build your business. So that in a nutshell is what we're going to talk about at the hangout yesterday, so I apologize for that. If you have any questions, of course, always call me, shoot me an email, ask your coach. Be glad to help you in any way, and we're just going to keep this as part of our conversation over the next few weeks as we go into the new year, and then also keep it going as we launch 2019. So hope you guys are doing awesome. Have a great and productive day, and let me know if you need anything. Take care.